morning to all. Am I audible? Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Welcome to IEDA National Level 1-Week Faculty Development Program on Positive Aspects of Teaching Practices. Today's session focuses on resource skill using Quarto. Chief guest introduction. It's my great honor and privilege to introduce our esteemed chief guest, Mr. Nitin. He is an accomplished academician, researcher, economist with a remarkable expertise in applied microeconomics, development economics, consumer sentiment, remittance, and banking sector studies in India. Mr. Nitin is currently serving as an assistant professor in the Department of Economics at Kerala Agriculture University, where he teaches microeconomics and econometrics to undergraduates and postgraduate students, while also guiding research projects. He is pursuing his PhD in economics in the prestigious Indian Institute of Technology, Kharagpur, and has completed his MPhil in economics in the University of Hyderabad, along with a master degree in economics from Pondicherry University. A strong academic background reflects his commitment to excellence in higher education and research. Mr. Nitin has published several research high quality papers, reputed national and international journals on the topic of remittance, non-performing assets, digitalization, and financial development. He has also delivered invited lectures, workshops, at institutions like Flame University, Presidency University, Central University of South Bihar. Also sharing his expertise in data analytics, econometrics, and research methodology. With proficiency in advanced tools as R, Python, Julia, MATLAB, Stata, and SPSS. He is widely respected for combining academic knowledge with practical analytical skills. Today, we are truly privileged to have such a distinguished scholar and inspiring personality among us. His presence insights will certainly enrich occasion, motivate for all of us. Thank you for extending warm welcome to you, sir. Thank you for being with us today. I hand over the session to you, sir. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation. Thank you for your valuable time. Thank you, sir.
So, good evening, everyone. I hope I'm audible and
Yes,
I'm
sir.
visible also. So, first of all, I should express my deep gratitude for such a respectful introduction, Dr. Usha Rani ma'am, and thanks for having me for this workshop. And so, before I begin, this will be a completely new topic that most of you will be most of you will be unfamiliar. So I think everybody is having a laptop, and I'll share my screen. Let's see if it is visible. So this is a talk that I have given at multiple places. So I'll build on to that talk, and based on the level we can build. Okay, so let me share my screen. Okay. Sorry, just let me take another session. Okay. So is my screen visible? Yes. Okay, great. So this is a talk that I had given last year at a Young Economic School initiative. So let me build on to that. So the idea is to familiarize you with tools that are available for transparent and reproducible research, which most of you might be unfamiliar, because I am more, although I'm an economist, I'm also a data scientist by passion. So I build on to teaching using my data science skills too. So let me start by presenting. So this is the beginning. So writing a good code is also a part of doing good research. So most of the research that is typically done in India are done by tools like SPSS and STAT. SPSS primarily, and also Excel. So where you will manually reproduce a lot of results, and then somebody else asks you, how did you get this result? So that is not, then you'll have to explain a lot of steps, and most of the time it's not reproducible. So the primary advocate for doing a reproducible research is generating a good code. And this is a famous, Conrad Hinson is a very famous data scientist. So this is the quote from his talk. So this was a talk jointly given by Naveen, and so currently I'm an assistant professor. This is a brief introduction, and I hope most of you are research scholars, some of you are academicians, and your current workflow is something like this. You manually save multiple versions of the same file. You rely on copy pasting results, struggle with collaboration across different tools, especially when you have multiple co-authors. Somebody else is good in something, you have to collaborate. Then you do your analysis primarily in Stata, SPSS, then write your results in Word document, communicate via email. So if any of this or most of this you can relate, then this is the place that I want you to begin with. Okay. And the primary disclaimer is research is not equivalent to expertise in these tools. However, knowing these tools can save a lot of time. Of course, I know there are a lot of AI tools that can make all these things better. But then if you are not able to afford a $100 per month subscription or a $200 per month subscription, because I also use a lot of AI tools, so then you will be stuck in a loop, and then you cannot get out of that loop once you do not have enough knowledge. Even if you have $100 subscription, if you there is a point where AI struggles, and if you cannot come out of that loop by using your own knowledge and proper prompting, then instead of saving time, you'll be actually killing time. Okay. So let's assume this. Some of you are research scholars, some of you are teachers, and some of you are academicians. So this is what normally happens when in an academic environment. You write a research draft, you want feedback, so you email draft.docs. Mostly you write in Word. Then I add comments. I make changes and email to you, draft Nitin comments or draft your name comments. Then you send it me back by draft V2, and with a lot of iterations, we end up in draft 20, draft 30, and so and forth. And at the end of the day, you do not know what changed between the drafts, and when did it change, unless you write it in a notebook the traditional way. So, and then you will have a very messy folder like this, maybe paper draft. You might like some advanced users might put date to avoid the issue, but then still you are still not sure what happened, what literally changed between the drafts. So how many of you experienced this? Can I have a quick hand raise? This is what you mostly do, right? I think at least some of you can relate to what is happening here. Yes. So I hope you will be here. And then again, there is another problem. Sometimes you write a paper. I'll speak mostly about a research perspective, because this is a workshop meant for researchers. So you write a paper, then you want to submit it in a multiple format, like maybe a PDF. And this is most common when you write a thesis, because in PDF you cannot make edits. You type everything in Word, then you try to send PDF for final printing, but that PDF is generated purely from Word by converting, and then your alignment can change at the final time of printing. I have personally experienced that even during my MPhil thesis submission. So in the last hour when your deadline is there, you might not be personally able to go through 100, 200 pages to check for all the alignment problems. And then you get a printout. Then you later, even when some of your friends point out, okay, there is an alignment problem, then you feel like you'll regret writing that thesis. So you had to have different versions of the same file, and then it is hard to track changes and collaborate efficiently when somebody is writing it with a different font, or even when you write in Word, the even when you are writing in two different versions of Word, alignment can change. Then it is total mess to properly align everything. So that's the issue. Then, so what if there is a better way? That is what I will talk you through, and I'll try to show you a example of how I do it. Okay. So what if there is a better way, where you can automate automate the results, like instead of doing your maybe simple summary statistics and regression in one software, then create a table, you copy the results from the table, and then you paste it in Word and make a publication quality table. In the meantime, instead of 0.25, the result become 22.5 or 25. Then so all to counter all this, what if there is a very natural and automated pipeline that is called reproducible research? And why does this matter? Especially, I don't know how many of your economists here. Any economists? Anybody who is doing a master's or an MPhil or a PhD in economics? No. Okay, so these are top economic journals, and all these economic journals now require the paper to be fully automated. Like, you should, even if you say that average maybe average life expectancy between male and female are 70 and 68.3, they need that figures to be fully reproduced. Without that, they don't accept submissions anymore. So reproducibility ensures that the research is transparent and it is accountable, so that we can fully believe on the scientific discovery or scientific progress that we are making in that particular field of research. Okay. So this is the most important thing. So for a project to be completely reproducible, I hope at least everybody are social science researchers, right? Anybody from science stream here, researcher? Can you please raise the hand? No? Am I audible still? Yeah. So no science researchers, I guess. Okay, fine. Anybody? Okay. So Sharanya is a science researcher. Okay. Okay, maybe I don't know whether she is able, but at least when you write a paper, you will definitely come across this. So a well-structured project folder. So you should have separate project folder for each research that you are doing. You should not just store everything in My Documents or maybe downloads or whatever. Okay. Then there should be a documented workflow. I'll come to that. And then there is something called version control. I know these things might be like alien terms to most people, but let's try to understand. So version control is kind of the way in which the computer itself stores any change that you make into your project. The computer stores when is that change made and what did you change. And computer automatically pushes that into a cloud, so that whenever you feel like maybe some 5 years down the line, you want to go back to that earlier version to start this project again, you can always do that. In the meantime, you might have changed your computer, you might have lost your hard disk, but absolutely don't worry. When you are using this workflow, everything is there for you, and it is ready to start whenever you want it to. And then executable code. So the crux of the reproducible research pipeline nowadays is you don't write anything without a code. Like a figure you make it using a code, so that when the paper is due for submission or for a review and they want a change, it is very easy to make that change rather than doing it all from the scratch. Okay. And environment capture is specifically for Python programming. Some of you are aware about Python programming. So the most important thing is the results are verifiable. When you send this code to some of your co-authors or even some of your reviewers or some external help that you want for that particular project, the results are directly verifiable and nobody can raise any eyebrows regarding your results that you have cooked up the result. So that is again very important for research, that your results are believable. Okay, and that can also add credibility to you as a researcher. The kind of tools you adopt give you that credibility as a researcher who is ethical. So basically, this is the idea. A well-structured project folder should have separate folder, and you had to have a main project for a main folder for each project. Then you had to have separate projects, separate folders like data, and inside data, I'll have mostly my workflow is okay. Let me show you. So my workflow is mostly about get this. Okay, so my workflow is like this. I'll have a main folder, then I'll have a data folder. Okay, a data folder, and inside this data folder, I'll have two folders or even three in most cases. When the project is very large, I'll have a raw data folder. Like when you are dealing with, I won't change any files from this folder. Whatever analysis I do and the intermediate results, I'll store in intermediate folder. And then I'll have a final data folder for my publishable results. Okay. So similarly, yeah, then I'll have a scripts folder. So this is for storing all my codes in R, Python, Julia, or Stata or MATLAB, where I do most of my work. So basically, the scripts will again do cleaning, analysis, visualizations. For each task, I'll have separate scripts. Okay. Then I'll have an output folder to store my tables, plots, reports, and even the final manuscript that I'll store in documents folder. Then that is the first key element for a reproducible workflow. The second element is what is called the documented workflow, or what is called a README file. Okay, so this is the way like the Western academia or what is the top journals require you to do. So a README file should say should have a very brief and clear description about the research that you are doing, the sources of data, the frequency of the data, and all essential things that is required for this project to be reproduced. Where did you collect the data? Is it a private data that cannot be shared? And all other things. Okay. And also the order in which your code scripts should be run. Say you have a particular name of the file. I'll come to that. Okay. Then you have what is called version control. So we use a software called Git to track edits over time. So when you are, especially when you are in a collaborative project, this software called Git can track who changed what, when, and why. Because we'll write a description for making a change, and then who is changing, that is automatically linked to your Git account, and then at what time everything computer is noting, and that is saved into a cloud. So that enables rolling back on mistakes. Say my co-author did a mistake and I find it out, I can roll back to the previous version. But if you are doing or in any other like if you are not using a reproducible workflow, this is not possible. So the main tools are Git, GitHub, and other things. I'll not talk about that today because my focus today is about what is called Quarto. I'll come to that. Let me quickly run through the slides. Then the other important part is what is called executable code. So your research, a good research should not rely on any manual steps, because any manual step is not reproducible. So no clicks, no copy pasting result into Word and other document. So proprietary tools like SPSS and Excel, that also I will mostly discourage because of this version difficulty. Some of you might still have MS Office from 2007, and some will have MS Office of 2020. So there are some newly introduced functions which your other co-author is not able to do, or he's not able to verify. So that's the other thing. So you have to always use a software, mostly what is called open source software. So that's called open source. Okay. Open source. So you have to use open source tools. So the idea is it is easy to track what was done when you are writing a code. I'll show you that. Then it is if you are not using that, like if you're using tools like SPSS and Excel, it is not repeatable, especially when you do an analysis, say for 10 states of India, and then I ask you to reproduce it for 28 states. It's barely impossible to do it in Excel again over in another couple of minutes. But that's not the case when you use R and Python. I'll show you that. And then there is no risk of human error. That is the most important thing, and that depends upon your nature as a person too. For me, writing a code is essentially a way of minimizing my own errors. I'm very bad at copy pasting, so I write codes so that the results are there is very less risk of human error. So the solution is scripted reproducible workflow. We use reusable scripts in R or Python. Of course, you can use Julia, Stat, and MATLAB also. Then you generate outputs programmatically. I don't make a table by using Word. I make tables also directly from R and Python, and then I directly put it into my document. So even I'm not even importing the table manually. Even the table is imported into the document automatically, so that whenever I want to change, I can change it very easily. So the most important tool here that I will introduce here is Quarto. Jupyter notebooks are especially for Python, but Quarto is a polyplot or something that you can use multiple languages. You can use C, you can use Python, Julia, whatever, Stan, and many other languages. So that is why I promote usage of Quarto. I'll skip this environment capture. So then let me introduce you what is called literate programming. So this is the idea. So we use what is called literate programming to combine code, results, and narrative in just one file. So I'll have code, I'll have the analysis, I'll have the figures, everything in just one file. Not the typical workflow that you are used to. You will have a SPSS file or a SPSS file, then you'll create a picture, then you have a Word document. So at least you are using 3 softwares to do one very simple research. Okay. So the idea is there is no copy paste error, easy to update plots, stats, tables, whatever, great for reports, and the styles, everything can be very easily customized. Unlike Word, where if you insert a figure, your whole alignment goes. That's not the case here. And the results is easily verifiable. Somebody can what the same output that I am getting, I can be sure that even after 4 years or 5 years, the same result can be produced by somebody sitting in US or somebody sitting in Africa. And so that whatever I claim to say in one of my research, we find that financial development increases remittances, especially in countries like India. So when I say that, others can verify that using my data and codes. Okay, so that's the idea. So of course, there is only one. There are only challenges. There are only 2 challenges that I know. There is a small learning curve, and then the most important thing, because I was a former employee at the State Planning Board of Kerala. So the main problem, one of the main problem is this institutional and personal resistance to try out a new tool, because even if you pick it up, your colleagues might not pick it up, and then that creates a barrier. And there is no incentive for you to learn a new tool when you are working in a institutional kind of setup. But for your personal growth and for your personal aspect, learning this is absolutely time saving, and this is magical. So that's about this. Any questions before I go to hands-on demonstration? So I'll stop here to take some questions if you have. Else I'll show you what do I mean by using Quarto. Anybody have heard about this before this? So ma'am, can I start with the demonstration, or should I wait for a couple of more minutes for any questions? Okay. So let me share the screen with another window. So this is the software called RStudio. And this is where we write, I am going to show you what do I mean. Okay. So you can, are you all familiar with RStudio? Anybody who has used RStudio previously? Okay. So let me start with using a new Quarto document. So let me give just a blank test document. I'll give a title test document. Okay, then I'll give my name, author, Nitin. Then I can choose what kind of format I want. This can be changed later, but for now, let me use HTML and then let me create a document. Okay, so this is my blank document, and let me delete all this. So between these three dotted lines and this is called YAML for a Quarto document, YAML. Okay, that the acronym is for yet another markup language. So Quarto is a markdown language. Let me tell you. So how do you write in Word? For let's assume that we need to have a level 1 heading. Okay, so what do? You use heading 1, then you go and try to make it bold by selecting this and going bold, but it's very easy here. What you have to just do is put one hashtag. One hashtag means this is level 1 heading. 2 hashtag means it is level 2 heading. Okay, let's try. Let me show you this. Uh, let me write some blank text. This is testing paragraph. So, and then click this render button. Okay, and then I had to just save this testing.qmd. I render this. Now you see this. There is a process running. So the difference between Word and okay, let me show you the output. Okay, let me make it by sharing. Just a minute. And make it sharing the entire screen so that you're able to see. Okay, so this is the document that I have. Okay, I'll click render again. Just a minute, what's happening? Where did that go? Just a minute. Okay, so can you see on the right side? Mobile. Okay, I don't know why that is coming. Let me close that. Okay, what about now? Is it fine? Yeah. So you see, there is a title. The author name is there, and then heading 1 is automatically getting a different font size, and then you have what is called this, the testing paragraph that you have. Okay. Now, what if I want to get this numbered? I just need to make some changes here. Format HTML, then numbering, number sections true. I give a different argument called number sections true. Then I do the render again. Now you see the level 1 is automatically getting a number. So the idea is you don't need to manually give numbers, everything that will automatically come. Let me introduce 1.1. To introduce 1.1, what do I have to do? I just need to write this 2 heading. This is heading 1.1. I do rendering again. Now you see I got 1.1. Okay, so the numbering is automatic. I can choose the format, everything. Now this is about HTML. So you can also get PDF output. I just need to give PDF default. And then I render. I'll show you the PDF document. Files. Okay, let me take here render PDF. Now you see, you will get a very beautiful. What's the problem? Okay. This is some version issue that I have not used lately. Engine PDF tech engine. I mean, give a different thing. Okay, let me make it default and try to render. So the idea is you should try to make everything automatic, and we get a different result now. So you get a PDF. It's combining test to PDF. Let me see. Okay, so you see this is a PDF. So you are maintaining only one document, but you can get multiple format. You can also even make this is a presentation. I'll just give another format. PPTX. Again, I'll give default. So you see, I am just maintaining one document format, but I'll have multiple format options. This is not possible without a software like Quarto. So now you see I'm getting a PowerPoint output here. Although yeah, see, I'm getting the name of my presentation. I'm getting my author. Then I'm getting heading and all that stuff. You can control how slides are being rendered, even the design, everything. But because this is a short talk, I'm not rendering into that. Anyway, next step. Now I'm telling you, you can also write codes and make the results completely reproducible. Let's see how that works. Okay, so let me introduce an R code here. So what I can do is I can click here and bring in any of the language. Let me write an R code here. So for that, I'm using what is called library empty cars, or let me write ggplot here, library ggplot, and I'll try to write gg diamonds, or I'll also write library idverse, and then I'll write some code to generate diamonds. Let me run this first, whether this works. There is no package called ggplot2. So that is loading, fine, no problem. Diamonds, Control Shift down arrow, group by. Let me see what are the columns in diamonds. We have diamonds data set. Let me try with what is there in diamonds. So you have a data set. This is just for demonstration. So you have a diamonds data set with 53,000 observations. You have their carat, cut, color, clarity, depth, and all other information. You also have prices. So let me try this. I want to create a summary table of all the colors and the average price. So how do I? So normally, if that is something that you have to put it in your results, how do you do it normally? You take this data, then you put it in SPSS, you calculate a table, and then you try to import that into this document. How do I do it? Diamonds, group by maybe color. Okay, then summarize price, average price. Average price is equal to mean price na.rm equal to true. So now I get an average price for all the colors. This will be directly in my document. So let's try to render this again. Okay, let's try to see how that comes. under HTML. So now you see, I have this table also directly printed into my document. And even if I give this as a PDF output, I'll give a PDF output here. Let me see what is happening. So I think you got the idea. I am not manually creating any table. So this table is directly there. I can make a publication quality table, but that is something more advanced. My idea is now some reviewer tell you that they don't want it by color, rather they want it by cut. All you have to do is change into cut here and you get a different result. Render again. So now you get average prices by cut. This is not only about table. I'll also do some graphing. So let's try to do a scatter plot. So for that, I'm giving a different heading. Scatter plot of price versus cut, or maybe price versus or let me do a bar plot. Okay, uh, uh, bar plot of average price. Bar plot of average price. So how do we do that? Again, what would you do in your traditional workflow? You will try to take this, try to draw a graph from maybe SPSS or Excel or whatever. Then you try to save it. Then come and import here in this document and try to put the alignment and all that stuff. Okay. Instead, again, I'm using an R code. So let me take, so the idea, the good thing is this, I can simply take this table again, this code again here, and then I can pass it to what is called ggplot. AES x is equal to, okay, bar plot will not tell you this. So no problem, x is equal to color, y equal to average price, then plus geom code. Let me try if this works with the plot. Okay. Object color not found. This problem. Plot AES is there, right? Okay, let me try. Let me see what's happening here. We are still getting the same table. Fine. Oh, okay. I changed it into cut. That's the issue. No problem. So this is the good thing about writing a code. You can easily figure out what is happening. So let me try to do it by cut. So what I had to simply do is AES x is equal to cut, y is equal to average price. Okay, plus geo code. Now let me try if I'm getting this correctly. Okay, I have a plot. I can make it even better by giving a theme. Let's put it dark simply. And now let me try to render it. And you'll see what do I mean by writing a reproducible work here. I also have a figure inbuilt directly into this document. Okay, I can of course control the figures size, everything, but what I mean to say is I'm just using one software for entire thing. Are you able to understand? I'm not trying to juggle between multiple tools and write it. Now the best thing is when you write regression. So let's do some regressions. For that, let me try some regression. So let's try to do something. Control Shift I. Again, let me try to load two packages: library, Gapminder, then library brew. Okay, so let's try to find out some regression. So before that, let me show you the Gapminder dataset. So if you run this, you are able to see this dataset is a dataset from World Bank, and the idea you have multiple country, you have around 192 countries from, and every 5 years you have data of life expectancy, population, and GDP per capita. Okay. Now let's try to run a regression between. So the idea is mostly in development economics, you see when the country is having higher GDP per capita, we say that country is also will have higher life expectancy. So it should be a positive line, a positive scatter plot. First, let's try to draw that. This is the most important thing that you will try to understand when you are writing a code language. Okay. So I want to draw this for, say, India. Okay. So how do I do that? Let me show you. So Gapminder, then I'll try filter country equal to India. It's as simple as that. Now you will see only India. Okay. What do I need to do? I need to draw a scatter plot for India. It's very simple. Again, I'll write ggplot AES x is equal to, I want to say that if you are having higher GDP per capita, you will also have higher life expectancy. So let's try to do that. GDP per capita, y is equal to life expectancy, and then let's try to draw geom point, and let's try to see what's happening. So you see this figure. Can anybody tell me what is the wrong I'm doing here? Anybody who has done social sciences, can you tell me what is the mistake that I'm committing here? Anybody? So we should have seen a positive relationship, but we are getting a a rectangular relationship. What is the mistake I'm doing? Any idea? That's not about, anyway, that's not my topic, right? I should have just done research skills using Quarto. So the idea is I could have done, and now what if I want this relationship for all the 192 countries? I got a plot for India. I can also give some more. I could make it still better. Theme or maybe labs title equal to scatter plot for India x is equal to GDP per capita, y is equal to life expectancy at birth. Can make this still better, but I'm missing this. Yeah. So now you see I have a title scatter plot for India. I have this x-axis and y-axis. Now I can give a different theme which I like. Theme minimal. Okay. You see the plot is looking much better now. You can make it 1,000 times better using ggplot anyways. So the idea is now, what if I want to iterate for all the 192 countries? Do you think you will be able to do this in another 3 minutes? I want a scatter plot for all the countries. This is not possible with your traditional softwares like SPSS or Excel, because you will need to filter the data, then go to the chart builder and do whatever you feel like. But with this code, all you had to do is change here, right, and change here. There are only two places where you should change. You should change here to make it maybe China, And also, again, I'll make it China here. Let's rerun this code. Now you see you're getting a, okay, China is not there or what? Maybe Gapminder country does not have China. Okay, I did. Programming language is very case sensitive. Now you see we have a different plot for China. So you can do this n number of times. Even if you have 1 lakh countries, it does not matter to you because you have already written this line of code which does the work. All you have to do is to change at 2 places, and for that there is a there are multiple ways to do it. I used to use a function called map, but you can absolutely do it. And now you put this into figure. You have to have multiple figures. You can do that. Now let's run a regression. So basically, the wrong I'll tell you what the wrong I'm doing. The GDP per capita will be in thousands or 10,000s. Life expectancy will be always in 100. So that's a mistake that we are doing. That is why we are not getting this as a proper plot. So what we can simply do is we can make that change, mutate GDP per capita is equal to log GDP per capita. You have to take everything in log scale, and then this will work. Life expectancy is equal to log of life expectancy. And then you do this. Now I think you will get a straight. Okay, what's happening? What did I do a mistake? No. Let's try to do this now. I'll do one thing. I'll put a hash symbol here. So a hash means this code will not work. The rest of this part of the code will be just comments. Let's try to do whether it changed to log GDP per capita, and both are in logs. Absolutely no issue. So this should work. Then I don't. If it does not, I'll have to figure out. But that's the issue with live coding. Let's try to change for a different country. Maybe I don't. Maybe for China this is not working. Okay, so you are almost getting a straight line except for a few outlier places. So that's the idea. Now let's try to do a regression and see whether that results are holding. Okay, so let me do regression. Again, that is very important. So let's try to fit a regression. So how do you fit a regression? It's very simple. I'll fit a regression model or minus LM law GDP. What is the data? GDP per capita. So my life expectancy is a function of GDP per capita. Okay, life expectancy is a function of GDP per capita, and our data is from Gapminder. And then let's have a summary of our model. Now let's try to run this and see whether, okay. And let me try to render this to put your regression results again in this document. So now you see I have a table showing the regression results. So did I do anything manually? No. Now is it reproducible? Of course, whenever I want to change model and I want to do this only for a specific country, I can simply do that. Now let's say I want this relation to test only for India. I can simply give the argument here. So what I'll do is I'll create a data for India. So again, I'll write a code and I'll save Gapminder India alt minus Gapminder, then filter country equal to India. Now what I can simply do is instead of this Gapminder, I can give Gapminder India, and then just re-render this document, and now you see all this coefficient will change. Let's try to see that. Now all the coefficients changed. Is it visible to all of you? The PDF file is visible, right? I hope it's visible. Let's take it further. You see this table is not very nice. So let's try to make this better. So I'll introduce another package called model summary. And then instead of summary model I'll just give model summary model, and let's try to render this again. So instead of you trying to manually create all that beautiful tables, let's see what's the output. Now you get a very beautiful table. This is the kind of tables that you see in journals, right? So I did not do any post-processing, anything. All I did was everything from one software. My coding, my writing, my analysis, and my graphs, everything. So this is Quarto for your research skill. And this can also be used for teaching, because the slides that I showed you today, that was also made in Quarto. So you just have to give a different output PPTX. Now let's try to render this as PPTS and see. And by the way, I don't use PowerPoint also for my slides. I use what is called Java slides. So let's try to see the PowerPoint. So it is showing a table, it is showing a graph, your regression results, your model, everything. So it's very easy. I just had one document format and I have multiple formats. So that's Quarto. You can also use it for as academicians. You can use. I have also used this. Like I told you, I am an econometrics teacher. So for my last econometrics exam, I gave an individual question paper for all the 43 students. And each student was getting different data set for doing a regression so that they cannot copy. And all that was done using Quarto and R in combination. So you, as an academician learning Quarto, you can create slides, you can create exam question papers, you can do your research, everything. So this is one tool that can help you do multiple things, and also in a very efficient and time-saving way. So that's all from my side. Because this is a short workshop on Quarto, I will not dive deeper. And I know most of you would not have even heard about it, so that you could not follow along with me. But if you are having another session where I can formally introduce you how to write in Quarto, maybe 3 or 4 days we can learn all this, how to create slides. I also created my website using this. So you can go to this website and check all the materials here. And all this were also created in Quarto. So the slides were, you can get a chalkboard, you can get everything, whatever you need to teach online also, that is directly available. So all these slides were made in Quarto. So I think I have done enough justice to the talk. And if you have any questions, I'm ready to take questions. Else, yeah, that's it. Thank you everyone for your patient listening. I'll stop sharing. Okay.
How do we install this app and how do we self-learn?
Okay. So what you have to do is you have to search a Quarto in Google, and then you will go. Okay, let me share that. I'll show you how to do that. So I'll share my browser. Maybe now I'll quit my slides. Okay. So what you have to just do is go to in Google, search Quarto, and then go to this website. Then go to get started. You have to download this depending upon your machine. Download and install as normal. and then you start using by using this guide. Of course, this will, I told you, it has a steeper learning curve. So it will be nice if you can have somebody teach you, or go to YouTube and search Tom Mock. Are you able to see my screen? I don't know. So go to YouTube.
Yeah, we're able to see our website.
Yeah, go to YouTube and search Tom Mock Quarto to learn. If you are installing and want to learn the possibilities of using Quarto, so maybe, yeah, welcome to Quarto workshop. So click this link. It's a 2-hour session where he introduces you Quarto in very detail. But of course, he's from US, and the way he teaches and the way you should learn, there might be different. So it's always better if you can consult somebody using Quarto in India. But yeah, you can always refer to this. Okay. Any more questions?
Yeah. So just want to know what is R and why did you use R instead of Python or some other?
Why I am an econometrician, especially I focus on time series econometrics. So the idea is the packages come first in R, and then only they transport it into Python. So if I'm doing proper data science and machine learning thing, I'll prefer Python. But for my econometric tasks, I'll prefer R. I of course use Python for my data science stuff. That's just preference. And I'll give you another reason. The another reason is, in Python, the indexing starts from 0. So the first element is in 0th position. In R, the first element is in first position. So for my brain, it is easier to know that the first element is in first position. That's just personal preference.
Thank you.
So I hope this was new thing, and some of you might try to explore this and make use of this tool, so that you just need to maintain one document for multiple formats, and it can save a lot of your time and also space on your computer and all that difficulties. So thank you everyone, and that's all from my side.
Yeah, thank
പോയല്ലേ? Yeah, sorry, I lost my connection, and that's why I might not be visible now. Power went off. I'm able to take questions.